Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm down at the museum, at the DNA Museum, Desert Nature Alliance, and I am surrounded by dried flowers. Why am I surrounded by dried flowers? Well, because I want to talk to you about using something different than confetti or plastics when you're celebrating. That you could use dried flowers and throw these beautiful things up in the air and enjoy just as much. So come hang out with me. If you're new, if you just swipe by and you're like, who is this crazy person? My name is Stacy. I am in Arizona. It's 111 again today, if not hotter. It might even be 113. And so now is the perfect time to talk about things drying out and dehydration and just ways we can get around using plastic. I think that we should stop using as much plastic as we're using. So what's in front of me right now are some of the flowers. I always called it wild and dried, and we'll continue to call it that. Wild and dried confetti. It's flowers, just flowers. Whether I got them at the grocery store, whether I got them as a gift, whether I pulled them wild from the desert, it's just a whole combination of them, and I've been collecting it for years now. So anytime I get flowers, anytime I see wild flowers out there, I pull some, I let them dry, and I add it to the collection. So I have quite a bit, and yes, we've sold it here and there, fundraising for the DNA kind of thing, and also just for people that want to, have weddings and that kind of stuff. They contact us, and of course you can have some. But what I'm really hoping to do is encourage you to do your own. Absolutely. Start saving the flowers that you have, whether they're growing around you, given to you as gifts, and start using them for something else in your creativity. It might not be for a celebration. It might actually be for just some artwork or just to sit around the house somewhere and just to be beautiful. I've been told by multiple people that when we send out our flower confetti, they almost feel too bad throwing it because it's so pretty. Well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? We shouldn't be throwing something that's yucky in the air, and we certainly shouldn't be throwing plastic in the air at this point. There's tons of other options that we have. If you're having some kind of celebration, I love using dried flowers as little gifts for your guests. You can put some little dried flowers into these little cute containers, and they can take them home and do whatever they want to with them in terms of display, or again, just to be part of the celebration. They can throw them whatever you guys are doing. I like the idea of the small roses, the spray roses, as almost your flower girls bouquet. I don't have a lot of them here right now, but you can definitely do some more. So you take your flowers and you dry them out, and then she has a keepsake for a long, long time. I'm sure some of you are like, if I get flowers, they wilt and die easily. Absolutely. I don't think that there's enough of a lifespan on some of these for the cost and the water and everything else that's being used. So when I get flowers like this, once I start seeing them kind of wilting, I take them and hang them upside down. And that's what allows them to dry straight for me. But like I said, I'm also in Arizona. I am in the desert, so it's exceptionally hot and exceptionally dry. So I'm able to dry flowers. So I'm going to encourage those of you that live in these hot areas like Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, California, all of us that are just Texas. Hey, you guys got a little more humidity than we do out here. Humidity is going to cause you a little problem doing this. But those of us that live in these extremely hot and extremely dry climates very easily can dry lots and lots of flowers and create a whole bunch of beautiful things, taking a whole flower and just letting it dry. Now I keep it for how long? If I was just hoping that this flower was going to last, it's not. Most flowers last you just a very short amount of time, maybe a week if you are lucky. We don't, as a society, need to keep spending, consuming. We're seeing where that's causing us problems in our environment, and we can do better. We are more creative than this, absolutely. For too long now, we've watched people just buy things, and just fill up their place with all this, with stuff. And when you're tired of your stuff, it goes to a landfill. We've created way too much of that, and it's causing a lot of problems on the planet. We really need a cultural shift where we tell some of these that are trying to let us feel like we're inferior by not having tons or rooms full of stuff, or a flower display that's the size of a wall is not necessary. It's not. You can celebrate without being so outlandish and without doing so much environmental damage. Now, I've been asked before, is this potpourri? Do you consider it potpourri? Only when I spray something on it, but I think potpourri is an old term and definitely not as pretty as anything that we've created. We have pressed flowers in here and stuff. No, take some of your flowers, put them between a book, press them, let them dry. Absolutely beautiful. You can make artwork out of that. So don't overly consider it potpourri. If I'm going to add a scent to any of the flowers, it's going to be something pretty wonderful, like from Bath and Body. Like this one is Hello Beautiful. So, why wouldn't you? So it had like kind of a theme to it. If you were going to do flowers like this, say at a desert wedding, so you're out and it's dry and in the desert, and then you're going to take these gorgeous colors and just let them, dry out into the into the desert and fly away. A little scent might not be too bad, but not too much, because again, you're going to put them, if you're throwing them outside somewhere, we don't want to add too much artificial to it. If you're just going to have this sitting in your house or in the restroom or on a table somewhere just as pretty, just as a decor, then sure, definitely I would you could spray something on it, whatever. But do I consider it potpourri? No, I don't consider it potpourri. I consider these beautiful and versatile, and you can take flowers and petals and do all kinds of things with them. The box that I have here is more of what I consider the flower confetti. Let's see if I can get this up close to you guys. And it does. There's anything in it, from dried flowers to pressed flowers. And it's the perfect size that you can throw at any celebration or wedding, like I said, or just have it scattered around to give you that visual effect, if that's what you were going for. Take your dried flowers, create art with it. I made cards for the museum with a lot of just pictures that I had taken of the different plants and flowers that we have out here. I think I have one here, of just some of the flowers. And then you add, getting the light here, and then you add them to, say, your grouping here, or a gift that you have for somebody. You give them this and another little something, and you have yourself a fantastic little, whether it's a parting gift or a wedding party gift or those kind of things, when you need just something little and you don't want to spend a lot and you want them to be able to reuse or use what you've given them. Most of the time and you guys all know this, if I've sent you out a sticker recently, I don't sign the cards. I give you guys cards like this with nothing inside of them, so that way you can use it again or use it as art or whatever. Okay, so I'm hoping that I can encourage you guys to come up with alternative ways to use nature, use your flowers, just in your daily life, looking at things differently that are packaged in plastic. How long am I going to keep it? Is it something that I can do something else with, kind of thing? Be a little bit more creative. Maybe you have a lot of flowers. You're like, I'm not really sure. Well, then dry some out and go online and let people know that you have them available. It doesn't always have to be about the financial gain. How about our environmental gain? That's something that you could be way more proud of, that you did something that had an impact. The studies that we are doing right now through, you know what, I'm going to reach over right here and grab it. Should have had it sitting next to me, but I did not. A lot of our studies came from Purdue, and it's the nature of teaching, and they've been helping us along with our studies here and producing some of our programs and our information, our worksheets. Connecting with nature is super important right now, especially for those that are suffering mentally. If you're struggling, if you're having problems with depression, if there's just things that feel off, or you're struggling, reconnecting with nature is going to be one of those things that is going to help you drastically. I can attest to that. I have my own sense of struggles, and I'm also very creative, which seems to be one of those things that makes you kind of uneven, I guess is what I would say for myself, my creativity. But taking your shoes off, reconnecting with the planet, touching real flowers, not plastic ones, not fake ones. Even when they're dried like this, they have their own powerful, wonderful energy. Reading this was fun, and there was a question here about if you were walking down a sidewalk and you saw in the crack a flower was growing, what would you think, and how would it make you feel? Now, I think some of you, if you instantly pictured maybe, say, like a dandelion or a weed, you might be like, I don't feel anything. But if you saw, say maybe like, I don't know, a very small sunflower growing in that crack, how would it make you feel? It's an interesting concept to go over. How does nature make me feel when I'm out? Have I explored that and have allowed myself especially if I have depression. Talking to those of you out here that might, if you need to get outside a little bit. Yeah, it might be hot. It might, and that might be the worst thing. You say, oh my God, I can't. And sometimes when you have stuff like that, that's when you gotta push yourself and go, I'm just gonna step outside for a minute, even if it's just for a minute, and go back in and give yourself those other options. Nature is amazing, and sometimes in that minute, nature can change something that the rest of us couldn't. So I'm gonna keep working on my Purdue, the nature of teaching. It's really, really helping me out with a lot of the studies. Gonna be doing some worksheets on this because I think we need to explore how much water is being used, levels of dehydration, all that kind of stuff. Check out the video that I did I put out a piece of bread yesterday, regular piece of white soft bread, put it outside in 10 minutes. You guys, that thing dried out and I could stand it up like this card. Our weather isn't going to change overnight. Our patterns of behavior need to change overnight. We need to do some drastic things so we can all live on this planet and save it for all of our animals and all of for all of us. So thank you for hanging out with me. Trying to keep this short. We're just a little over 11 minutes at this point. It's probably too long for some of you guys, but definitely I want you to think about it. Flowers as your new way of celebrating, of coming up with ways to use it in your art, in ways to do your gifts, and in ways to make yourself feel better. Reach out to me, put it in the comments. Love to hear what you're doing with your flowers. If you think this is a good idea, bad idea, let me know. But definitely like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We could use your help. So talk to you later. Looking forward to seeing you at the DNA. Right now, the DNA is under construction. I've got multiple things going on. We've got the bats and the birds. That whole display is getting redone. So gonna have to definitely get yourself a time to come visit. So talk to you guys soon. Bye.